Hey, you guys, this is Vanessa Morgan right here on Poze Radio. You guys, I have John Skinner, the actual CEO and founder of Music Gateway. Hey, John.
Hi, Vanessa. How are you?
I'm great. I'm so glad to be talking with you today. I know you're a very important guy in the music business. You know, you've been in the music business for over 30 years now, and you know, you've been producing and writing, you know, things that you've done before you started Music Gateway. But before we get into that, can you tell everyone what is Music Gateway?
Okay, so Music Gateway is now about 5-6 years old. It's a global, basically it's a global marketplace for the music industry. It's an A&R vehicle, so we help funnel talent through to high-level companies. We also represent indie artists, people who make music for TV and film placements, which is called a sync agency. And we provide time-saving tools for artists to manage their music, their songs within a all in one account.
Wow, that's awesome. So John, I know actually previously before you started Music Gateway, you actually had licensed music, you know, in Sony and EMI and MCA. You know, you had different placements in games and all kind of sort of things, as well as, you know, owning your own record shop and everything, you know. So you've had a lot of experience before starting Music Gateway. So can you tell me what interested you in creating something like this?
Yeah, I mean, I think, like, you know, a lot of people and why they get into music, you know, most of us, or the vast majority of us, it's a passion, you know, from a very young age. During the 80s, when I was introduced to, you know, hip hop, and also early US kind of house music in sort of 86, 87 onwards, I was actually, you know, DJing, you know, through my, you know, through love of music and everything else. And that led to setting up my first business, which was the record shop you mentioned, which was back in 1991. And from there, it very quickly, I got introduced to several people that came in the shop, and there were producers and making records. And I basically had an opportunity to, you know, to make my first record in a studio. I had no idea how to make a record. And back then it was kind of like very much sort of fly by the, whatever that saying is. But, you know, just take it as it, you know, take it as it comes and learn as you go. You know, and from starting making records, I was always a big collaborator, basically working with singer-songwriters. So whilst I had I was good on the technical side, producing, you know, I'm just terrible at writing lyrics and melodies. It's not my forte. So, and I certainly can't sing, that's for sure. No, so, and you know, and I'm into soulful, you know, big, powerful, you know, back then I was making a lot of dance records, so big, powerful vocalists, very soulful, you know, diva style, big vocals, and that lent itself a lot to a lot of the American singers. So I ended up working and collaborating with a lot of people in the stateside, even though I was obviously based in south of England, just south of London. So this basically was the real main inspiration for me to create a platform, which later became Music Gateway, to help streamline the way people got connected, but on a global playing field. So rather than just, people tend to work locally, which can be quite restrictive. You know, if you only work in a particular town or city, or, you know, there might only be a couple of studios around, depending on where you live, it kind of restricts the type of people and the quality of people that you can, you know, you can work with. So I thought, look, there must be a better way than, and just, you know, throwing requests out and comments out on things like, you know, social media, Facebook and on LinkedIn and stuff like that. It's very hit and miss. So the principles of the site was obviously artists, songwriters, producers, etc. They have their profiles on our platform, and people can post projects and basically kind of request a need. So, and that could be a co-write, it could be a collaboration. We obviously have record labels, publishers looking to sign people. We have, looking to, work with other people. And then interested parties, you can obviously review those projects and those people that are looking to connect with other people. And then you effectively make a match. So it's matchmaking, essentially, for people who want to make music. And obviously our system notifies relevant people. If you're looking for a singer, our system will notify, the singers. But it's about putting things out there and not restricting yourself. So most of our projects and collaborations that happen on the site happen internationally. Yeah. And then we've created project management tools where once the users get connected, they can share their files online privately. So whilst they might be recording locally, they can still share and communicate in one little central tool. So, and as I said, we've hooked up, literally thousands of people across Europe, across the pond, in Australia, Asia, all over.
Right.
And we're, ultimately it's about empowering people. Anyone that's on the platform can create a project and then find someone else that's like-minded that helps complete their particular song or project or whatever it is. So really, it was all about kind of really me sort of building something that I knew that was a kind of a need out there that I'd experienced myself.
That is amazing. Wow, that is really cool. Especially when you have an experience to be able to give your experience to other people, to have them create experiences for themselves, especially for artists who are struggling out here and people who actually need that help and need those gateways, basically music gateway, need those gateways
absolutely.
to, actually further their careers. Well, I love that. I really love that. And, actually... Yeah, I
mean...
Go ahead.
Sorry, go on.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that, one of the other kind of key things that we try and do, and the words that we use is funneling. We're funneling talent. We're introducing talent to either high-level companies. We're all about generating, business and opportunities for artists. Now, look, the reality is not everyone's going to be able to get signed. Not everyone's going to be able to get a publishing deal. Not everyone's going to get managed, right? You have to be realistic. However, you've got to be in the mix. And actually, sometimes, there's different, not everything is mainstream. Success isn't necessarily about the pop industry. You can be very successful. It all kind of is relative to your own goals, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. You can be a tour, you can be very successful, touring band for 12 years before you have a radio hit.
Right.
Black Eyed Peas were on the scene for 10 years before they broke. And the only reason really why they broke, whilst they were very talented, they co-wrote with Justin Timberlake on Where Is the Love? That's what broke them as a band. Exactly. They had several albums out before. They had a good following, but it was more of an underground following,
Yeah, definitely.
So they're a good example. That's a good example,
Definitely. And with John, with Music Gateway being a business-to-business platform, and you, especially when you're launching it just 2013, I believe you said you launched it. It's grown to, like you said, tens of thousands of people in the industry and professionals in the industry and other people across the industries and creative minds coming together. So did you ever expect for it to grow as big as it did, or was there another aspect you were trying to get out of it?
It's a difficult one because obviously you always, whenever you start something, and I'm sure that a lot of your listeners might have started particular things or companies, and sometimes, things haven't quite worked out and all that sort of stuff. And you obviously always have high expectations normally when you're starting something. I think, it's certainly not been an absolute, smooth road drawing a graph from here to there. It's not been like that. There's been lots of twists and turns. And look, rightly so. When I first started Music Gateway, I did not know that we were going to become a sync agency. We were going to rep people's music legally to get placements, and I didn't know I was going to be working directly with Netflix and Sony Pictures. That was not part of our plan at all. And I think that, I think anyone that's going into a business, and the great thing about startups is that you can be really flexible and twist and turn quickly to match kind of a market need, and I think if the people that don't survive maybe are a little bit too rigid and won't make quick decisions to kind of like change up things that are working and things that aren't working so much. Universal is one of our clients, BMG. We built software tools to obviously help people save time, and it just so happens that we built something was a market need for some of these bigger companies that I didn't even envisage.
Wow.
Which was our kind of project management stuff. So we've now built, and obviously we've had this now for a couple of years, but we provide Universal, for example, with their very own private area in Music Gateway where they manage and curate a lot of their production library albums, for example, and they have a network of composers and all the Universal managers in there. I never envisaged that. That's something that kind of came out of building the software and building the tools that we built. So I think it's really important that and look, that lends itself quite well to an artist or a band. Things change,
right? Yeah.
You get opportunities up. It might take you on a tour for 3 months across America, and you never envisage that when you sort of set that, when you set things up, you never necessarily knew that you were going to have a radio hit and something blows up, right?
That's the best part of it. That's actually the beauty of it, something that you're actually going for and you get more. So that's perfect. I like that. Awesome.
Yeah.
So John, actually, yourself, you actually went places and done seminars, at the NAB, and you've done all kind of universities in the UK. You've lectured people and everything, and you've done so many great things in your life so far with your experiences. Can you tell us a little more about that? Like, what do you go to universities to lecture about? Like, where you're telling people about Music Gateway or just tips in the music industry?
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing more satisfying for anyone to be able to kind of share your experience or your knowledge in something. I think I'm not academic at all, in the sense of I think they call it flunking out of school in the States. I mean, we don't do that over here in the UK, but I mean, I left when I was 16. I had a handful of exams to my name. I've always been kind of a very hands-on, team player, and just, hands-on can do. And I think that, I have done a lecture at places like Cambridge, Westminster, York, Southampton, Cambridge University, and it's kind of like, I was like, wow, this is kind of weird, because I'm probably the least qualified person to kind of do a lecture in the sense of, the academic sense of it.
Right.
But, it was great. And I knew things that I thought would be really box standard that they would know, as even though they're kind of first on their journey, that they didn't. They really did not. There was a big disconnect between what people were learning, this is musicians at Cambridge University, compared to how separated they are from the kind of marketplace,
Right.
And, we obviously got specialist short schools, and you've got Berkeley in the States and all that sort of stuff. So obviously, but it was very, it's great. And obviously I go to, I do a lot of stuff at various conferences like MEDEM. You mentioned about the NAB in Vegas. There's loads of conferences. I mean, you could go to a conference every week if you really wanted to. But it's, but yeah, there's some fantastic conferences here in Europe and in the States. And obviously I've been very, very lucky. I've been able to travel. I come to LA normally 2 or 3 times a year, and I've obviously been to New York and Nashville. Again, without Music Gate, probably wouldn't have travelled to some of those places, you know?
Right. Awesome. That is really cool. I'm glad that you actually had those experiences as well. You know, it's always adding more to who you are and who you're becoming, you know, because you're more than just this person and you're actually expanding yourself. That's beautiful too.
I mean, I learn stuff every week from the people that are around me, from other experiences. You know, obviously I'm quite experienced at what I do, and I know the market pretty well. But there's stuff I'm learning all the time, and I think we never should think we kind of know it all, because we, you know, there's always things to learn, even if it's different ways of doing stuff. You know, or dealing with different situations and all that sort of stuff. So I've, you know, this has been a huge learning curve for me, even though I've run a couple of companies before. It's you know, it's you can't beat it really, and that's I think, you know, obviously the whole indie artist journey, it is a huge learning curve. I'm a massive fan of making sure that you surround yourself with people that complement your own skills. And there's sometimes a lot of cynical, you know, people can be a bit too mistrustworthy and cynical in the music industry, whilst you've got to be a little bit streetwise and clued up, because everyone is, you know, an angel out there. You equally shouldn't shut everyone out as a default thing. I think that you know, there are going to be situations that don't work out and go a little bit pear-shaped. But, you know, I think to not take those risks is just, you know, just totally wrong. And I think people should embrace working with other people and taking risks and trying, you know, writing different songs with different people and really stretching yourself. You know, that's very important.
Definitely. And John, you also mentioned earlier the TV placements, the TV and film placements that you provide. So what are they? Can you tell me a little more about the TV and film placements for the artists that you provide, and how they can actually apply to them and, you know, continue their music career?
Yeah, I mean, look, we are really upfront with people. First and foremost, people need to understand that the sync market is, you know, getting an actual placement in a TV show or a film. It's very, very competitive. Look, you know, there's obviously professional, you know, record labels, publishers. You've got all the majors. You've got big independent companies with lots of great music that are also pitching and working with music supervisors to try and get their music placed into these shows, because it is a lucrative business. You know, the sync business is roughly worth around about $3 billion a year in revenue. Oh wow! You know, globally. So, and you know, you can not only for an indie artist, there's the fee that you can earn, but there's obviously the exposure, the knock-on effect. And then there's obviously back-end royalties as well that you can collect. So sync is now, you know, a kind of a major revenue stream and avenue for artists to, you know, get deals off the back of a sync. So if you can get a sync, it is tremendous. So look, here's your options. You can do it yourself, and this is where our tools come in. So we obviously provide indie artists basically with cloud storage. So think about, you know, like Dropbox, so you can store all of your music. But the key difference is that you can store your songs. You can actually put all your writer splits, all of the information about who owns the music, you know, the rights holders, who owns the master rights and the publishing, and et cetera, all that specialist information you can add and make sure that we've built tools to help you manage those songs and add that information into your files. We've also got playlist tools. So instead of sending your links via, say, a SoundCloud or something like that, or a Dropbox link, we've got professional tools that all the pros use that you can pitch and send your music. Say if you're sending it to an A&R or a music supervisor, you know, a label or a manager, we have a professional tool to be able to kind of do that. It's all integrated into our system. So we give you the tools to do it yourself, and we give advice, and we give, there's tutorials and there's various other things to help support our users. The other side of things, because this is the key, it's time consuming to do that. So if you don't have the time, and obviously if you're a singer-songwriter or you're an artist, you really want to be focusing on making music.
Right.
So where we come in is we act as an agent on behalf of thousands of our members, where the users can onboard all their music, give us all that information, and we do the selling, we do the pitching. It's key to understand that music supervisors, who are basically the buyers, if you like, they deal with the directors and the broadcasters, they deal with all the legal and the creative side of stuff. They only deal with trusted sources, people where they've built up relationships over years, sometimes decades with people. And obviously we've built up a great reputation, with a lot of the US members, the Guild of Music Supervisors members here in the UK and in Europe, and obviously in the US. And obviously we're in direct communication with hundreds of supervisors each and every week, every month. So, and we're pitching music matched to their needs. So, we receive briefs about shows, about their films, about adverts, and we're obviously pitching and trying to place music. And we take a commission, like a fee, out of the total fee. So that's all the details are on the site, but it's basically we take 25% of the fee only. So we don't take any rights, no back end royalties, nothing. Or it's 20% if you come with us exclusively. So okay. It's a slight incentive if you come with us exclusively. So yeah, you've got two options really. We're empowering people, and we do obviously the legwork as well. I should add that we do have projects and sync briefs that we manage on behalf of clients as well. So we're actually, obviously once you're on the platform at musicgateway.com, you can actually, obviously you can pitch yourself on specific project that you think you've got the right kind of music for. Mm-hmm. And that's not just sync. We've got, A&R briefs, people, we work with, managers, artist management that are looking for new talent. As I said, it's all about this opportunity and matchmaking and stuff like that.
Awesome. That is amazing. I really like that. A lot of artists actually need those services and those tools to actually get their music out there, and it's so great that you guys provide that. So, John, if I can ask you, what kind of information could you give artists or where they can contact you or where they can find out more information about these services of Music Gateway?
Sure. So the first thing, if they can't remember, it's obviously musicgateway.com. Just come to our homepage. On the navigation, there's stuff about TV and film sync placements, gives you all the details there. You can literally get registered. We have kind of 3 account types. Our like a venturer account, which is our kind of baby account. You can have a free trial for 14 days, so you can check us out, check all the tools out. That is only $15 a year, so it's not like a monthly subscription. It's a one-off annual $15. That's like a couple of beers on a Friday night, or cocktails, depending on your choice of drink. And then we have what's called an influencer and game changer account. So you can, if you want more data on your account and other benefits, then obviously it's up to the people if they want to do that. Musicgateway.com is the best place to come.
Awesome. You guys, thank you so much for listening. There you have it. You can find out more information about Music Gateway. Just go visit musicgateway.com. And you can also listen to this interview again right here on Vamo Radio. Just type in vamo-radio.com. John, thank you so much for the information. We appreciate it so much for having you on the show today.
Fantastic. Thanks very much. Cheers. Cheers, Vanessa.